This is Billie Billing. I'm here with Florence Fuller. She's the former owner and operator of the Pocket Billiard Lounge in Binghamton, New York. And we wanted to ask Florence a few things about her life. So Florence, can you tell us, did you grow up in the Binghamton area?
Actually, I was born in Honesdale, and about a year after that, we moved up in this area. So we have lived in outside of Afton. We've lived in Bainbridge, and we've lived on Hyde Street, which is a few miles from Whitney Point. In fact, I graduated at Whitney Point High School. Spent my last 2 years of school there.
What year did you graduate from Whitney Point?
1941.
1941, I see.
Mhm.
And
Seems like a while back, doesn't it?
now I understand that you got into a business up in this area. What was the first business that you had?
Well, when we came back from California and Colorado, I spent those first years traveling around the United States, and of course had no money, so we'd have to stop and earn some money before we could travel on. And when I came home, we bought the store from my mother and father, and it was just a little one-room country store with a couple of gas pumps out front.
Now, when you say we, who are you talking
Oh,
about?
I had a business partner and friend, and we had traveled together, and we decided to buy that store. That was for me, really, because she was a registered nurse, great nurse, by the way, so she didn't need a store. And it only took about, nearly 25 years, but with remodeling and building on a couple of times, it turned into a little mini supermarket. I've got a picture of it if you want to see it. And Easter, Good Friday, it caught on fire for some unknown reason, and because there was so little insurance money and all that, they didn't really investigate it because they knew it hadn't been set, and it burned to the ground. Well, my sister Nancy had been playing pool for a year or so, and she knew that the Pocket Billiard Lounge was for sale. It wasn't called that then. And so with what little money I got from the insurance on the store and some money that they had, we bought that from Mr. Parrish. And
Now, your sister was Nancy Warren?
yes,
Is that right?
yeah.
Because some people out there might remember Nancy from the pool tour, the women's pool tour.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that didn't last very long. We couldn't seem to agree on everything, and rather than cause a family feud, we decided to part company. They have since moved to San Jose and in California and been out there for quite some time now. And then after about almost 5 years after that struggle for me, I discovered that there was a nice big space 2 or 3 steps down from the original room, and I thought, wow, wouldn't that be great if I went down in there and enlarged the place and made it a little bit more grand, you know, that appealed to me. And I thought, gee, it'd be a good way to get these guys out from under my nose.
Was that your landlord that you mean?
No, I meant my pool players.
Oh.
I love them dearly. However, and they've been really very loyal down through the years. So I'm just kind of teasing a little bit, but certain rhetoric does get a little tiresome about the equipment, and well, you know the rest, I'm sure.
Well, they complained about the equipment a lot?
Oh, constantly. It's never their fault. It's always the equipment, and it doesn't matter. The only time they're happy is about 3 days after you've put new cloth on a table.
So for the first 3 days they're happy.
First 3 days they're right in seventh heaven.
Do you think that the problems that you had with the original pool room, just in general, was due to the fact that you're one of the very few women who own a pool room at that time? Or do you think it's like a general complaint of players, and it didn't matter who was owning the room?
Well, that too. But yeah, I would say being a woman wasn't the easiest thing for them to accept. But after a few incidents, I did convince them that I was boss. And that helped a lot. And it helped me, and it helped them.
Well, now, did you enjoy running a pool room?
Yeah, I did. And the game fascinated me right from the very beginning. And when they were very helpful to me, most of the guys, and they got a kick out of beating me to a pulp, you know. But when I could run 5 balls, I thought, wow, I'm pretty good. So immediately I started to go to tournaments. And boy, did I get surprised. Actually, one of my first tournaments was up in New London at the X-Tac room. I'm sure you all remember them.
That's the Gold Crown Billiards
Yeah,
in
right.
New London, Connecticut?
Right, and they were marvelous, and they were trying to help get the ladies started, and they had other tournaments too. And my first tournament, which was straight pool, by the way, which was all the rage at that day in the 70s. And would you believe it was Jeannie Belucas, and she wasn't showing off or anything, and what terrific concentration this woman had. I'm telling you, she was very young. She was probably 18 or less in that tournament, and she celebrated her highest run to date, which was 39. And needless to say, my 5-ball run didn't seem to stand up under the pressure. But it got me hooked. And I still maintained being in business, because that was my first priority and my first love, really. I love being in business. And so I didn't practice every day and do the whole routine, so obviously I never got really that good. I'm using that as an excuse, if I may. But I still loved the game, and I loved watching it. And when you're on a stool behind the counter ready to serve your public, you do get to watch a lot. And subconsciously that probably helps you to not only to get a little knowledge, but to get a little bit better, because you're going to try out whatever you see.
Right. Now, Florence, did you start when I know you had a lot of tournaments in your room?
Mm-hmm.
Did you start out with the BCA tournaments, or like what, or a house tournament? Like how did that start?
Well, Nancy and I did in the short 6 months that we were partners. We did put on a tournament with, and she was the instigator of that, and we had a nice tournament, and that was very early.
That was a house tournament?
No, where we invited players, and it was for women.
Was it an official BCA tournament?
It was when WPBA was just getting started too, that early. So yes, I would say it was
A BCA tournament or a WPBA event?
a WPBA.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Hey, la ding dong, a lang, boom,